Prabhupada has a very fast wit. When people were talking in the beginning about him coming here with his immigration, Nandarani and Dayananda were thinking of sponsoring him. So he said, "Oh, you can adopt me, but they will say, what will you do with such an old child?" And then Allen Ginsberg offered a woman to marry him. And he said, "No, no, I cannot do that." So people would, I saw his wit, and people would say, "Oh, Swamiji, you look so nice today." And he says, "Just today?" He would be like that, fast wit. And the early time, there was more than one woman that asked him to marry him, not for immigration, but there's one person that followed him up to Montreal. It wasn't like people were getting kicked out of the temple too much for anything. You had to really do a lot to get kicked out of the temple. In the first days, we were having a rousing hour-and-a-half kirtan and then going out and having a cigarette after it, like it was the theater or something, intermission, with the dogs there tied up in front of the temple because dogs wouldn't be allowed in the temple.
You know, when Prabhupada got his stroke, it was Memorial Day weekend, and Memorial Day weekend in New York, everyone leaves New York City. It's like this huge exodus. And I could see Prabhupada couldn't function, I mean, it was serious. So I called my family doctor, but he was out of town. And, you just get the answering service. I asked other devotees, anyone know any doctor? And nobody knew. And I was calling. I just took the phone book. I started making random calls. Whomever I called, everyone was out of town for the weekend. Everybody goes. At least in those days. I don't know now. And I mean, I'm just calling and calling, and it's hard enough to get anyone to come to a residence anyway. And I actually could not get any doctor. And, it was either bringing Prabhupada to a hospital, I didn't want to do that, and ultimately I just got some kind of doctor's referral service, municipal thing. And eventually I was able to get through them some doctor. And finally a doctor came. And he was this little old, I guess maybe Jewish guy. And he comes in. Of course, we didn't ask him to take his shoes off. But I mean, there we're all standing in our we used to wear these jeans and T-shirts and barefoot. And, and he walks in, there's no furniture, and just a carpet, and there's this old Indian man. He couldn't figure what's going on here. And there's Prabhupada very sick, and everyone's walking on Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I mean, he just couldn't understand. So it took him a time just to understand what's going on here, and then what to speak of examining Prabhupada. And he was a very kind of boisterous type of person, and he examines Prabhupada, and then, with the stethoscope, this, that. And afterwards he goes outside, and so we asked him, so what's wrong? He said, well, I think the old man, he prays too much. So, well, oh yeah, okay. So, he's just praying there. He's just sitting there praying all day, and he's got to get out. He's got to do some exercise. And Prabhupada could hear him from, the other room. Yep, he's got to do something. He's got to exercise. Go for a walk. Got to do something. Go out in the morning. Take a walk. Go to the park. So, anyway, and then he just left. And I mean, this guy, that's all he could do, say. So eventually we did have to I did put Prabhupada in the hospital. And then was a whole thing. And then Prabhupada came out of the hospital. Then we took him to a house in New Jersey we had rented by the seashore. Anyway, then Prabhupada did recover sufficiently, and then Prabhupada announced that now I will take a morning walk. He said that doctor, he said something very good, very valuable. We all laughed because we thought the guy was a nut. And he said, Prabhupada said, no, he has given very good instruction. I will take that up. And Prabhupada then proceeded to take a morning walk. And Prabhupada always took that morning walk. I mean, no matter what his condition, what his health was, whatever. I mean, I know stories of Prabhupada when Prabhupada was in Switzerland and it was snowing out. He was in a hotel. Shamsundar took him to St. Moritz. That's the whole story. But Prabhupada couldn't go outside for his morning walk, so he took his morning walk in the corridors of the hotel, walking, just as if he was outside. He was just walking and walking. I mean, I know when there was an automobile accident we had in Mauritius, and we were all had been injured, even Prabhupada. The next morning, Prabhupada rang his bell. We were all aching and paining, and Prabhupada, he was injured even more, and on his leg and so on. He rang his bell. Where are you going? Morning walk. And we were like hobbling, and but Prabhupada went on his morning walk. And Prabhupada was also he was much older than we were. Because you feel when there was a big tension like that, you feel the next day all that adrenaline. It gives you a lot of pain. So, but Prabhupada went on his morning walk. So Prabhupada followed that instruction.
It was a call-in talk show. The man had a reputation of not being so kind to guests. His name might have been Ron Owen, but that could have been the TV program. I arranged it. We went down there, myself, Jayananda, Mukunda, maybe Hayagriva. Since it was a call-in program, Gargamuni suggested, why don't we call in some questions? So we got the number, we poised at the phone, live talk show. Welcome Swamiji, welcome to the United States. A brief introduction. One of us gave a brief introduction about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, very brief. Call-in questions. First one, Gargamuni. What is the meaning of life, Swamiji? So Prabhupada says, the meaning of life is to be servant of God. So that took about 20 minutes, and this is like a call-in program. They want like sound bites and all this kind of stuff, although they didn't have the term soundbite then. But so then the next question is, why are we on the Earth planet? So Prabhupada again, a long answer. So now the man says, we want questions from somebody else besides your group. So they were obviously being screened by somebody in the engineering room, and the third question was a tremendous question, like, why are we here? What is our purpose for being here? Again, a great question. Prabhupada takes 15, 20 minutes. So now, for juxtaposition, for variety, the guy wants to get another point of view. So this woman from, sounds like a Midwest twang, calls in and says, Swamiji, why is your temple in the Haight-Ashbury? And Prabhupada says, the rents are inexpensive. So she says, why are you teaching hippies? And that might have been when Prabhupada said, they are not hippies, they are happies. It might have been at that time. She said, now how did you get here from India?